It's Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance. So glad to be joined by Ross Selvidge. He is the president of the Board of Trustees of the Pasadena Community College District. Congratulations is in order. The ASPEN Institute came out with its top 10 community colleges in the nation, and Pasadena Community College was one of them.
That's correct.
That's pretty impressive. Yeah. How'd you do that?
Well, we started out by being one of the 1,000 community colleges that the ASPEN Institute looked at and asked whether or not they wanted to be considered for the award.
There are 10,000 community colleges, I think, in the whole country.
Approximately, yes. And we've got 113
in California.
Correct, yes, 113 in California. Mm-hmm. And we were asked to submit materials on how PCC had been performing in a number of areas, student success, transfers, the quality of instruction, the extent to which our programs match up with local needs for the business community, for employment and jobs, and then also equity for underrepresented groups.
And you came out tops in all those areas. And highest first-year retention, most transfer degrees awarded in the state, an institution that serves high numbers of Latinos, veteran-friendly. So in a lot of ways, I mean, look, I've been covering PCC for a while. I wasn't surprised that it was a top 10 institute. Sister institution of 30 miles down the road, Chaffey College, also in the top 10.
That's correct.
So, you know, California did quite well, and I'm sure you're proud to be on that list. Hopefully in the coming years, we'll see a win for PCC. I know they do pick a winner. Top 10 is nothing to cry about, and I'm so proud of you all.
Santa Barbara College was
yes.
recently selected for the award. And
the number one.
Correct.
Right.
It was not the first time they were one of the top 10. So we're looking forward to the possibility that we can make it to the top.
I want to talk about funding for community colleges generally. As you know, Governor Brown has been very keen on restoring funding cuts that both K-12 and community colleges faced during the recession. We know Prop 30 passed, which was of benefit to K-12 and community colleges. The extension of part of Prop 30 passed, which is presumably of benefit. That being said, we're still facing a bit of funding uncertainty. The governor believes we may be deficit next summer. The CLA is not so sure about that, but some gray clouds may be on the horizon.
Well, Pasadena City College, along with the almost all the other community colleges in California, are going to be facing some very challenging fiscal times. One of the driving factors behind this is the recently increased contributions that community colleges, that K through 12 systems, that counties and cities are having to make to the public employee retirement funds. Just as an example, the California Public Employees Retirement System contribution that PCC has to make went from in the range of 10 to 11% a few years ago. 4 to 5 years from now, it's going to be 28%. That's 28% of the salary for the individual covered by the pension.
You're not alone. I mean, these are very difficult times. CalPERS, CalSTRS is not receiving the returns they expected. The contributions as a result of a law passed in 2000 are quite generous. We're looking at pension reform. We had a bit in 2012. I know some members are looking for pension reform again. I wonder though, and I know this is not within your dominion, but the UC and CSU system are looking to increase tuition for the first time in 5-6 years. California community colleges have not said they're interested in that, but should they be?
Well, I don't know if they should be, but one thing that it should be appreciated is that the state of California has made an incredibly large commitment to the funding of community college education, as opposed to charging the community college students who attend.
Right. I mean, right now it's $46 a unit.
Correct.
That is more than it was, 5 years ago when it was 36, or 6 years ago when it was 26, but we're still the cheapest or least expensive in the nation.
I haven't been able to find a community college that charges less.
There isn't. I mean, I'm aware that we are, and it's finally good to be 50th out of 50.
Right.
But look, these are times where community colleges are becoming more popular. If the new president gets his way, we'll see jobs coming back to America, and those jobs will be skilled and semi-skilled. And who trains skilled and semi-skilled? Community colleges. So should we look at these questions? Maybe we charge a little more for certain programs? I know that's blasphemy to some, but what do you think?
Well, that's something that I've heard talked about, and that was talked about just before I was elected.
Right.
But I haven't heard anything about it since, having differential costs for
Right.
different types of courses at the community colleges. However, I want to point out that not only do we have what I believe is the lowest tuition, or we call it a fee,
right.
in the United States per unit, 60% of the students at Pasadena City College do not pay that fee because they qualify for what is called a Board of Governors waiver. This is a waiver
waivers,
that the Board of the Community College System for the entire state authorizes. So 60% don't even pay the lowest fee in the country.
I want to talk about exciting times coming up for PCC. You're about to celebrate your 100th anniversary. I guess not about, in about 7 years.
Right.
And it begs the question, should we be looking at facility improvements? I believe that PCC had a bond back in 2001. We know the state passed a bond in 2016, $9 billion, $2 billion for community colleges. I think if you have a bond in place, you can leverage that with the state bond. I don't know if that 2001 bond will qualify, but are you looking for a new bond?
We are probably going to have to finance new facilities, and the way that any community college would have to do that would be to pass a bond,
So
which
let's
would be backed by property tax. Now, it's interesting, the $2 billion that you mentioned that is sort of newly available for community colleges, PCC has the #1 project priority in the state for replacement of a large building we had, which turned out to be structurally deficient after the Northridge earthquake.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
And that's our science building. We had to move out of the building. We had temporary quarters for our science programs, but we're #1. We get $65 million.
That's a done deal, essentially?
We're #1. We understand it's a done deal. It's just a matter of what the timing is for the money to be formally authorized and for us to begin the process. We're ready. We're ready to go.
But what about leveraging a PCC bond to get even more money? I don't know if the 2001 bond would qualify, or if a bond coming up in 18. I don't know if that's even on in the cards. Because I understand that when you can leverage local dollars with state or federal dollars, it can be of tremendous advantage.
I'm not familiar with a particular program for leveraging bond money for facilities at PCC, but what we anticipate is that we are likely to be able to put a bond on the ballot in 2018.
Oh, so you are looking towards that date?
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
So if you get, you have 5 or 7 members of your board.
7.
So I think if you get, is it 4 members, you'll need 2/3. If you get 5 or 6 members, you'll need 55% of the total vote.
Yes.
Do you feel as if you'll get significant board support so that lower threshold will be hit, the 55%?
I'm pretty sure we'll get board support if we have a plan which is well-defined, demonstrates that it fits with the educational master plan, specifies priorities and a schedule.
And do you feel as if your voters will be generous? Because look, LA County voters have been very generous recently with Measure M passing a transportation sales tax, with Measure H, I believe it was, which was recently passed for homeless services. There can be some fatigue on that.
Well, one of the things that's going to have a large bearing on whether the bond passes is how people perceive the way you're going to spend the money. And being a top 10 finalist in the entire country with the ASPEN Institute is not a bad recommendation. We have over 70% of our students come from outside our district. We have a fantastic reputation.
We'll have you come back. He's Ross Selvidge of PCCD. I'm Brad Pomerance. It's Local Edition.